Tonight, a clash between shark charter operators in Port Lincoln sparks calls for new regulations. And Central pull off an upset win over North in Broken Hill cricket.
From our 7 Spencer Golf studios, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening. A young woman is seriously injured tonight following a horrific crash between a truck and a car this morning. The crash occurred just before midday, just north of Port Pirie. Dominic Beaton has the details.
A car has had a serious front-on collision with a small truck on the Augusta highway at Nelsheby. A young woman has been airlifted to the Royal Adelaide Hospital after sustaining life-threatening injuries. At 10 a.m. this morning, a white Mazda hatchback crashed into the front of a small truck, with witnesses reporting the car to have rolled. Emergency crews were tasked with a delicate operation of moving the driver safely from the vehicle and onto a stretcher, before she was airlifted to Adelaide. She has sustained life-threatening injuries and is currently in a critical condition at the RAH. Both the driver and passenger of the truck have come out of the accident uninjured. The truck transporting bottles of liquid gas was lucky to not have exploded. The notorious stretch of highway has recently been flagged as an unsafe area, with members of the community calling for it to be resurfaced. There has been more than 60 serious casualties between Port Wakefield and Port Augusta since 2013. A heavy flow of traffic has been diverted down Horrocks Pass Road, yet a number of road trains were forced to wait for the highway to reopen. Behind me is a line of trucks queued up for almost a kilometre. Emergency crews are working tirelessly to clear the road to let traffic move forward.
An alleged assault between 2 shark cage diving operators has sparked renewed calls for equal licensing. There's currently 3 operators in Port Lincoln, yet only 2 have licences to use burley in attracting sharks.
Shark cage diving operators at war.
We have an exclusive opportunity in Port Lincoln that can't be taken by anyone else in Australia, and I feel we're not doing it justice or doing that job well enough.
It was December 23 last year when an alleged altercation between Adventure Bay Charters Matt Waller and Calypso Star Charters Andrew Wright occurred dockside here at the marina. Police are investigating, however the alleged victim won't take further action. It's unknown what caused the incident, with Calypso Star declining to comment. But Mr Waller says tension has been ongoing since licences were established 12 years ago.
What is the plan going forward to maintain a destabilised industry as a result of unequal and unfair licence conditions?
Currently there's 3 cage diving businesses in Port Lincoln, yet only 2 were granted with a licence to use burley to attract sharks.
If all operators were judged and deemed to be acceptable to given a licence, why were they not given the same opportunity?
Mr Waller has launched numerous Freedom of Information requests to the state government to understand why his business was issued an altered licence. Yet his questions remain unanswered, and he's blaming the government for a lack of a level playing field, saying he continues to get knocked back for a burley licence, the latest rejection just last November.
I've got business partners that had intentions of doing that all along.
With the shark cage diving industry worth millions of dollars to the region, Mr Waller says he just wants to see equal regulations.
We have a vision going forward that includes seeing equal opportunity as the best solution to growing this industry.
However, the Department for Environment says it remains committed to its policy of limiting the use of burley to ensure environmental sustainability. Casey Trelaw, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 26-year-old man has lost his licence for 6 months after being caught drink driving in Port Pirie. The man was pulled over at 7 on Friday night, where he undertook a breath test and returned a reading of 0.099. Police issued an on-the-spot loss of licence, and his car will be impounded for 28 days. He will appear in court at a later date. Port Augusta cricketers have put on their pink and batted it out as part of the annual Pink Stumps Day. Players from the Port Augusta Prison and the East-West Social Club took their sporting rivalry to the pitch in a bid to raise funds for cancer research. The event was well supported by the community, raising over $2,000. The prison side claimed the bragging rights though, blasting 155 from their 20 overs. The Railways workers came close in reply, eventually going down by 11 runs. Sanjeev Gupta is set to take on Australia's coal and gas industry. He's reportedly entered a $1 billion renewable energy project into a federal government power tender. John Hunt has the details.
On top of steel and the wireless community, power generation is an area Sanjeev Gupta has a keen interest in. He's going national with his plans, putting forward a $1 billion renewable energy proposal to the federal government. The federal government is currently tendering for new 24/7 power generation plans. According to leading energy news website Renew Economy, Sanjeev Gupta is tendered for the project. He's reportedly put forward a renewable energy proposal through Simex Zen Energy, which will feature solar and storage capabilities. It'll also feature pumped hydro, which will deliver 6 to 8 hours of electricity storage via disused mining pits in the southern Middleback Ranges. It's one of 66 proposals, which are dominated by large-scale coal and gas projects across the country. Despite the toxic debate surrounding energy in this country, Mr. Gupta has made no secret of his belief in renewables, not just for its environmentally friendly capabilities, but also for its cost.
This is the cheapest. So that's a simple answer. A businessman looks at all options and looks at the most economically viable one, and we've obviously put our money where our mouth is.
Solar is forming a big part of his plans for the wireless steelworks. Last August, he unveiled a 280 megawatt solar farm at Kultana near Whyalla, which could also power up to 96,000 homes. There's no known time frame on the tender, and with a May federal election expected, a decision on who gets a contract could be a while away.
Still to come tonight, CU Mining says it has more in store for Port Augusta. Welcome back. Days after announcing a new $250 million transportation and shipping hub for Port Augusta, mining company CU River has revealed it has more commercial plans. The company is examining the possibility of a large-scale solar farm for the site.
Last week saw a big new investment of $250 million for Port Augusta, and there could still be more to come.
We're looking to ensure that the site receives maximum development opportunity.
Mining giant CU River opening their scope for further renewable energy projects on the 1,068 hectare site.
We are looking at the feasibility of a large-scale solar farm. That's just one option that we're looking at.
Their announcement last Friday to take over the land of Port Augusta's old power station, prompting swift interest from a number of potential investors.
To look at wanting either a small part of the land or larger sections of the land for commercial use.
CU River will take full ownership of the area in April, and Flinders Power will work up until that time, planting 100,000 seedlings to continue revegetation efforts.
All environmental responsibilities transfer to CU River, and we're absolutely committed to making sure we do the best job possible.
The company also quashing online fears about possible dredging of the adjacent Spencer Gulf waters.
We're not looking to dredge that seawall or that Spencer Gulf area at all.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Broken Hill Mayor Daria Turley says she's confident that she can win the seat of Barwon in the New South Wales state election. The Labor candidate has been busy door-knocking across the electorate, hoping to swing the votes in her favour.
She's Broken Hill's first female mayor. Could she be Barwon's first Labor MP? At the last New South Wales state election, Labor saw an almost 13% swing. Needing similar results this March, the Silver City's mayor believes she can get it done.
We reduced the seat by 12.5 with a minimal campaign. We're doing a great campaign. More importantly, the community are getting on board across the district, across the seat of Barwon.
With a landmass covering 44% of New South Wales, Ms Turley says she's been non-stop on the campaign trail, making sure she listens to local voices.
Nobody's ever said to them, what's your priorities? What's your concerns? What do you worry about? What could we do better? And, you know, that's the question, and they're very grateful that we're actually doing that.
The Nationals have held Barwon since 1950, but Ms Turley says a number of issues, including employment, education and water, could see a change.
Where I go, people are standing up and saying, I've never voted Labor, I'm a National Party voter, but I'm voting Labor this time, and that's the constant message.
Patrick Royenke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta locals wanting to upskill their credentials now have a brand new facility to use, with Access Training Centre opening its new building. Bigger infrastructure means classrooms can hold 3 times as many people as the old site.
It's been planned for nearly 2.5 years, and now, adjacent to the Augusta Highway, the new $1 million Access Training Centre has opened its doors.
We absolutely love the new facility. It's fantastic to have something of this calibre in the region.
It features state-of-the-art rooms purpose-built for training.
Screens, whiteboards, everything that is required to conduct theory training.
The classrooms are significantly bigger than at the old site, which could only house up to 10 people.
Fully seated this facility, we're looking at over 60 students.
From a white card through to forklift training and crane driving, the centre offers students a number of qualification opportunities. The Port Augusta site also offers some specialised rigging training,
which will make us the only provider this side of Adelaide to be delivering rigging training.
And with a number of industrial projects due to pull up to 4,000 workers into town over the next few years, the training centre is expecting to be very busy.
Yeah, we are already experiencing some of that demand.
The new building will be officially opened in the coming months. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Australia's Dingo Fence has fallen into disrepair, leading to an influx of wild dogs attacking livestock in pastoral lands. Calls are growing for the state and federal governments to take action to stop the dogs heading further south.
In pastoral areas of the mid-north, wild dogs are proving to be a bigger problem for farmers than this year's drought.
Wild dogs are having a detrimental impact on an industry that's valued at around $5.4 billion.
Australia's iconic Dingo Fence was built for the sole purpose of keeping wild dogs north and away from pastoral areas. Unfortunately, years of neglect has left the fence dilapidated, and in spots it's completely collapsed, allowing packs of wild dogs to move further south. Upkeeping the world's biggest fence is a behemoth task, which has agriculture groups calling for action from politicians at both a state and federal level.
It's replacement of the fence. And so that's what we're advocating for, and I'd have to say we're working very closely with the Minister for Agriculture in South Australia.
The Dog Fence Committee, as well as the Wild Dog Advisory Group, and we've sat down and looking at ways that we can further the conversation.
Wild dogs have been spotted as far south as Burra, with rigorous baiting operations currently underway to limit their impact. However, it appears the only way to stop the risk to livestock is to rebuild parts of the fence.
And I would say that the dog fence will be looked at by government.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We have all the weekend action from the region's cricket leagues, and we'll have all the local weather details. Welcome back. A time capsule from a former Anglican church in Whyalla has been returned to its owners. The former Holy Trinity Church on William Street is now a men's shed. Investigations found the capsule behind the foundation stone, which was laid in 1958. It was taken out of its resting place at a ceremony this morning, attended by parishioners and the local bishop. Inside was a copy of the local newspaper, a church newsletter, a letter from the parish, and a pamphlet given to every new Anglican who moved to Whyalla.
Part of the history of the place, and to be able to see what people thought was important and actually see what's recorded.
We're using their facility for a really good function of the men's shed and be associated with it. I'm very pleased with.
It'll now return to the current church on Wood Terrace. To local cricket now, and Central have upset ladder leaders North in a close encounter at Broken Hill on the weekend. Patrick Reinke joins me now from the Zinc Oval. Pat, it's North's first loss in 12 months.
Yeah, it is, Louise. North's 14-game winning streak was snapped on Saturday thanks to some stubborn Central batsmen. North got out of the gates well and looked set to post a big total. The Bulldogs' top order looked in good touch, but Central's bowling attack continued to make it hard to find runs. Matt Letcher top scored with 35. Behind him was Larkins with a handy 29. Bergman made 20 and was gone. Howard did 1 run better before getting caught. Scott Mateer jagged 3 wickets in the 38-degree heat. Captain David O'Malley also with a trifecta. At the end of their 40 overs, North had set Central a target of 162 for victory. The Magpies have struggled with scoring this season, but that wasn't the case this time, with Adam Rhodes scoring a vital 59, with Jared Paul and Tristan Smith providing support. With 11 overs to spare, Central was finally back in the winner's circle. In the other game, South continued their good form with an easy win over West. Whipping around the Spencer Golf Comps and in Port Pirie, Southport had a great chance to get their first win of the season, but a batting collapse saw them unravel. Wandera did enough to beat Solly North. In Port Lincoln, and there were some high-scoring affairs, Braden Frost made 94 as Charlton vanquished Lincoln South, Jack Bunder got to 96 as Tasman downed Waybacks, and Todd River upset first-place Southern Air with a 23-run victory. In Port Augusta, South are still top of the ladder after an easy win over Corn. Greg Shirley in blistering form, scoring 95 runs and also taking 4 wickets. In the second game, Central Stirling beat West. And finally, in Whyalla, Central and North both got wins. So, Louise, that does it for another weekend of local cricket, and I'll be back tomorrow night to wrap up all the other sports from around the regions.
Now time to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt Aylen.
Thanks, Louise. Well, it's been a windy day across the Eyre Peninsula. 34 the top in Port Augusta today, Whyalla 30, Port Lincoln 25, Broken Hill partly cloudy and 38, and it was sunny in Port Pirie 34. From the satellite, we can see a high pressure system moving south of the Bight, bringing us mostly clear skies. Tomorrow that high will continue moving to the east. On the waters, southeasterly winds shifting southwesterly at 20 to 30 knots, swells to 2.5 metres, and sunrise is due at 6:43 a.m. We'll see partly cloudy conditions around most parts tomorrow. Broken Hill looking at a top of 38 degrees. Port Augusta and Port Pirie both 35, Kadina 34, Woodner 33, Whyalla 31, Port Lincoln 27, and a slight chance of showers for Coffin Bay 26. Moving ahead through the week now, some fine and partly cloudy days ahead. Port Lincoln 28 on Wednesday, 27 on Thursday, cloudy and 24 on Friday. Cleve with temperatures in the late 20s over the next 3 days. And a partly cloudy week for Woodner, 34 the top on Wednesday. Whyalla 30 degrees on Wednesday, Thursday 28, cooling down a little to end the week. Port Augusta 35 on Wednesday, Thursday sunny and 33, Friday 27. And fine days ahead for Kadina, 32 the top on Wednesday. Port Pirie looking partly cloudy, Wednesday 34, Thursday 33. Clare a little bit warmer, 39 on Wednesday. And Broken Hill 30 on Wednesday, Thursday 37, dropping back to 29 on Friday. And that's Monday's weather, Louise. Back to you.
Thanks, Britt. And that's the local news this Monday evening. We thank you for your company. We'll see you again later with updates.